Well, for more on all of that, let's speak to Rina Shah, a US political analyst and former senior aide to two Republican members of Congress. Welcome to the programme, Rina. There's quite a lot to chew on there. Some of them might be considered controversial appointments, but of course, to start with, these appointments will make his base, the people who voted him into office, extremely happy, won't they?
Well, all of Washington is abuzz this week with how quickly these appointments have been announced. And with rapid fire, we have seen a lot of critics emerge of each one of these appointments. It seems that almost no one is immune from scrutiny, which is a good thing because in a representative democracy like ours, we tend to really take a great interest in who is going to be at the helm of our federal government. With the executive branch, it's a little different. These appointments obviously come immediately and only from the president-elect, Trump. But what will happen is the legislative branch will do the checking. And by that, I mean Senate confirmation hearings. The chamber, the U.S. Senate, will see each one of these appointments to be heads of federal agencies or cabinet picks. They will appear in front of these senators and, of course, face tough questions, being grilled about controversial statements in their past and also about their outlook on how they would head each one of these agencies. So a lot happening here this week, but the one takeaway I've had is how many people on the left are saying that many of these controversial picks of President-elect Trump's are being stain-washed when in reality they are quite extreme figures we're looking at.
OK, I've never heard that phrase, sane-washed. A new one for me, Rina. Let me ask you this, though, because I covered the early years of Mr. Trump's first term in office. I remember watching many of those confirmation hearings. And even though some of the picks that he had were deemed controversial, including, I think, Betsy Voss, who was education at the time, there were some questions around her, for example. In the end, these people did get through because the Republicans controlled the chamber.
Right. So Republicans now have control of both the House and the Senate. Due to this election, what they're saying is that they have a mandate. And that is what Trump and his team are moving forward with the sense that they want to do things differently than last time. And that's why these picks are so bombastic, because a lot of these people have had nothing to do with Trump's first term. These are people that are coming from the private sector, and they are in general seen as people who would be highly disruptive. Now, the three that I find to be highly controversial are Hegseth for defense, Gates for justice, and of course, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as head of Health and Human Services, that department. These three picks, I think, will face the greatest test in the Senate. Whether they will be able to be confirmed, I'm not sure. I think the senators will no doubt bring up a lot of what the American public is talking about right now, that all three of these men bring with them tremendous amounts of baggage and outlooks that are very unusual to head these agencies.
Unusual outlooks, but we knew, for example, about Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s stance on vaccines long before. And I guess I come back to the original question, Rina, is that Donald Trump won this election with a huge mandate. So outside the Washington bubble, do you think the same conversations are happening, especially amongst the pockets that really voted for him emphatically?
Well, in terms of Democrats accusing both Republicans and other Democrats of stain-washing these candidates, these appointments made by President-elect Trump, I think that is sort of inside baseball, because what we see in Washington is business as usual, continued on for the past 4 years. And what the American people writ large did by voting for Trump, I think there was a very silent vote out there. I think there were people that essentially will never share that they voted for the president-elect, because what they want is disruption. They want a sense that things will change, that their lives will get better. Now, when it comes to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., that's a really difficult one for me personally, because I'm the daughter of a polio survivor. My late father passed 6 years ago, and I believe he would have been alive today, likely, had he not been suffering from post-polio syndrome, which is a horrific and debilitating syndrome, that impacts all parts of the body. And had he had access to the polio vaccine as a young child in Uganda, maybe he would have lived far longer. And so what I want people to understand is that controversial statements about vaccines aren't just statements. If Robert F. Kennedy Jr. does not even ban any vaccines, but keeps putting out this messaging about informed consent, people having agency to choose whether or not they take certain vaccines, that is incredibly dangerous for our public. And that's why so many Americans are waking up and starting to say, we need to be critical of those who lead us.
And Rina,
Jr. deserves that.
Just on that point, and of course, thank you for sharing your very personal story about your father. We're very sorry for your loss. Just on that point, are there any safeguards in place to ensure that misinformation is checked properly in government, that the wrong facts are not put out there, particularly when it comes to things like vaccines, which can be very controversial things and people can push out a lot of misinformation? We saw that during COVID times. What safeguards will be in place, if any, in the US federal government?
It is very difficult to know what safeguards could exist in terms of how the messaging gets promulgated. There are no checks on an agency. And when an agency head speaks, it's thought to be from a place of knowledge informed by the experts. But here you have somebody that is saying the experts are wrong. And that's where I take great issue, is because as a mother of young children, I've trusted the experts as I've given these childhood vaccines to my own children so that they can be safe in the classroom. They can move about society. In fact, so many of us have benefited and thrived in our lives because of these vaccines being safe, accessible, and efficient. The efficacy of them has been challenged over the years. Of course, there's a great debate in American society about links to autism, but in terms of hard congressional procedure or any kind of rules or laws on the books that can allow for a check on an agency head, they simply don't exist. And going a step further, because I have studied public health at the master's level, I can tell you it is simply the messaging that becomes problematic. And that is why I think this pick of Robert F. Kennedy Jr., while I agree with a lot of his stance on making America healthy again, getting preservatives, additives, harmful chemicals out of our food, I love some of that. But I do think he deserves all the criticism he's getting in regards to vaccine because he's simply wrong. Our experts have led us to a good place where our society is healthy because of these vaccines. And again, telling people that they can choose is just not good public health messaging always.
Okay, Rina Shah, always good to talk to you. Thanks very much for sharing your thoughts on Donald Trump's picks so far.
My pleasure. Thank you.